Good morning. First of all, I want to thank you all. I want to thank you all for being here and for taking the time, and I hope you enjoy. So at the beginning of the school year, I wrote down my leading quote for the quest I'd be working on. I knew the quest would be very long and rigorous, and I would have to work like never before to reach it. So I wrote down this phrase, to have a clear vision of where I want to go, but at the same time of who I am. Sometimes in the midst of battle, we can forget what we are fighting for. And I recently found out the importance of having a clear goal, and something that helped me a lot was this quote. If you chase two rabbits, you will catch neither one. For those of you who already know me, you know that I wasn't sure what I wanted to do after school. Not because I was out of ideas, but because I had way too many. It was overwhelming. But now, I've settled down, and I've cleared my mind, and I know exactly what I want and how to get there. But the most amazing part about this quest is that I'll be following my dream. I want to be a chef, and I want to study. And I want to study in the heart of France, and I want to build many restaurants there also. Well, not build, open many restaurants. Like this one. And I want to be able to get my hands on every piece of knowledge there is relating to cooking. But you know, one of the most amazing parts about cooking is that you get to help others in the process. Many of you may not know this, but actually, every meal is of utter importance to our overall health, and therefore, to our life. And I'll get to impact the lives of thousands through doing one of the things I most love. The clearer your goal, or on where you want to go, the faster you'll get there. Inside what we could call the dense jungle of life, you sometimes have to cut your way through branches and vines to reach your destiny. The harder you work and the more disciplined you are, the faster you'll get there. But sometimes, inside of all this rigorous work, you have to stop and take the time to climb a tree, to see if you are still on track. Otherwise, inside of all this hard work, you're going to get lost and wake up one day thinking, where am I? Where did I come from? Where was I going? Right? This is exactly why I wrote down the phrase, to remind me every morning to take the time to climb a tree and envision where I want to go and who am I. Once I had a clear goal and 3 skills that were very important for my journey set and in practice, my work speed increased exponentially. The 3 skills were discipline, work ethic, and exemplary leadership. To prove you how much I improved, I'll show you what I did in mathematics. I set a time range to compare last year with this year, the first session and a half. Last year, when I was working on 8th grade, I mastered 34 topics. This year, so far, I've mastered 61. At the beginning of this year, Mathematics 1 was at around 45%. Now it is at 80%. In reading, I've read 3 books so far, 2 of which are of the same trilogy, The Lost Hero and The Son of Neptune. They are really fun books, but really the reason why I chose to read them was because they are a great introduction into Greek mythology, which is something I want to study as part of my history requirements later on. I also decided to read El Sendero del Mago by Deepak Chopra. It's a very profound book about Merlin and Arturo, and all the teachings that Merlin passed on to Arturo. For instance, the lesson of innocence. I know I'm not saying much, but I really recommend that you buy the book and figure out for yourselves. In writing, I feel especially proud because I feel like my work professionality has increased a lot. So far, I've done 6 pieces and 10% in Textopolis. In Business Fair, I've been working really hard on creating grassetto, which are extraordinary wood-fire pizzas to go. During my independent study time, I've had the honor to work with masters such as Alice Waters, who teaches home cooking, and Gordon Ramsay, who teaches restaurant recipes. And as my history requirements, I've been working on the history of food. I know how silly that sounds, but actually, it's just human history and how food is very deeply related into it. In Spanish grammar, which is Lectopolis, I've read 9. And then in vocabulary, here is where I'll show you what I mean when I say exponential work growth. Last year, in the entire last year, I mastered 200 words. This year, in 1 session and a half, I've mastered 167, for a total of 367 words. In mentoring, I've been working, Selena is in my group. I've been working really hard on teaching the kids how to cook. It's been a fun but really challenging experience. But the interesting part about mentoring is that I got to see another side of cooking. Because when you teach something, it's not the same as when you're doing it by yourselves. These are some of the recipes we've made. The ones on the top are gnocchis, and these two are pizzas. Then this is us cooking bechamel sauce, and then that's a beef Wellington. And now I want to share with you one of the best experiences I've had this year so far, which was my internship. This was the first ever 40-hour internship I've taken, but it was at one of the most prestigious restaurants in Guatemala, Clio's. It was an amazing experience where I got to learn hundreds of new skills and techniques and recipes, and I got to get a sense for what it's like to own a restaurant and to work in the kitchen all day. But really, all this experience did was enforce the already burning desire I have to be a chef one day and to have my own restaurant. But all of this wouldn't have been possible if I hadn't set a clear goal at the start, and if I hadn't worked with these 3 skills to get it. I want to leave you with an exercise. The next time you find yourself inside a horde of people, I want you to posture up and set your eyes straight to an exact point to where you want to go and start walking, but don't lose sight of that point, and you'll see how a path starts to open up. Have a clear goal in life and grasp it strongly and work hard towards it, and you'll see how life starts to conspire to get you there. Thank you very much.